I'd like to welcome you back to the channel. So first of all, before I begin, I just wanted to say that you guys at Your Kind of Cuts are awesome, especially Billy, but specifically Ro. Thank you so much for the shirt. I really appreciate being a part of it. The work you do there is phenomenal. I have the utmost respect. Today, I wanted to talk about where does God end and people start? Meaning you have a challenge in your life. And let's say this challenge is a little overwhelming. Somebody messes you up, somebody hurts you financially or otherwise. And it's very easy to get caught up in blaming the person. But we have to remember that our entire purpose, our entire point of being in this world is to grow. God gives us tests. And even though it might come through another person, he's there. He's orchestrating. Not that he's telling the person what to do, but that's something we have to kind of understand and figure out as we go along in life. Is how is it that if God is leaving the world for us to function in, then he's involved in all of our actions. And I saw something fascinating that is a little bit of a hint. And that is that we know that in the Jewish religion, we were taken out of Egypt as the first step of redemption towards, the promised land. And the idea is that even though you can excuse all of the steps within the human regular way of things happening, albeit with miracles involved, but we know God orchestrated that. And if we don't believe that God was the one who took us out of Egypt, then we don't believe that God exists. Because as much as he exists, he took us out of Egypt. And this is not my thought. This comes from a very, very holy rabbi from way, 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 way in the past. So back to the question, how do we handle a challenge, something that just seems so overwhelming? Do we just say, oh, this is what God wants, so we give in? Do we say, how could this person do this to me? And so we fill our hearts with anger. And I think that it's something I grapple with and I struggle with all the time. But perhaps it's one of those situations where the answer is in the question. Perhaps if we're able to recognize that God is involved in it, we're able to take it with a little bit more honey. And perhaps if we know that what we're going through, even though somebody else is doing it to us, but God's orchestrating it, there has to be a higher purpose to it and a growing lesson. Now, as I said, I go through this all the time. This is not something I have an easy time with at all. But I do think that it's not even where does God stop and people start, but it's all one mixture, and it's all in that balance that keeps us going through life. As they say, great people get to rest once they die. And we know that even with the forefathers in Judaism, that as they got older, they didn't get to rest. Their tests got even bigger and bigger. Imagine this old man, Abraham, having to bind and almost sacrifice his son at the age that he was at. One example out of many. So if we see life as an ongoing struggle of challenges, but we know that it's our job to have faith in God and more so to live a happy life. So then we start to realize that maybe the adjustments we need to make in life is that we need to learn to be happy in the moment. And I think that that's what it all leads to, if possible. I used to say, I do say that when I was younger, so on the high holidays, I would pray for money. And I always wondered why there were all these other prayers. And then as I got a little older, I prayed for money and for health. Still wondering about these other prayers. Then I got a little older and I prayed for money and health and peace. something we take for granted. We assume that how we had it is how it'll be. And that's not necessarily true. And of course, we have to remember, that thing we're told as a child that the more we're tested, the more God has faith in us and the more he loves us. But just as a logical side, I think that in order to make it through the challenges, we have to know that everything we go through in life is to sharpen our personal skills to be able to enjoy life better. If you're somebody that likes to help others, perhaps you're going through your challenges so that you'll have a better understanding of what other people are going through and you can really relate to them and not give them that cheesy, oh yeah, or play devil's advocate, which is even more frustrating than anything. But rather, you're there for them and you understand and they feel you can relate. Others have other joys. Not sure, but I think the point is that the reason why a person can hurt you, but God orchestrates it, is a gift so that it's there for a growing purpose. And also it brings us closer to the grave, meaning not that we should go to the grave or die, God forbid, but rather there's going to be an ending point. And at that end point, we've accomplished what we've accomplished, and that's that. And we're not going to be able to accomplish if we stay still and if we stay in our past, but we have to keep growing, and growing is always painful. And as much as I would love for what I'm trying to say to be understood, it's very difficult because everybody's experience is personal and everybody hears things differently. So I pray and I hope that what I'm saying touches your hearts and you take it and it helps you and it helps me. I'd like to wish you a wonderful day. God bless you.